So apparently my parents talk about a lot of heavy stuff on their podcast. Listen at your own discretion. Like, comment, subscribe, and share or whatever. Anyways, welcome to Sobriety.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Ryan. This is Jess. We are sober as fuck. Before we get to today's guest, I do want to remind everybody, please check us out at safpodcast.com. Again, the website is safpodcast.com, where you can see everything. Sober as fuck. We're on every platform out there.
The podcast is actually on the website too. It's one of the first things that pops up. So all the latest episodes.
Yeah, they're all there.
They're all there.
Like, subscribe, share.
Review.
Share.
Review.
Comment.
Review.
Share.
Well, listen to it.
And listen to the damn thing.
Actually, download it and listen to it.
That's right. Download and listen.
Right. We have some new merch. We have coaching. We have all sorts of the good stuff.
Yes.
All sort of good stuff. What is happening with my brain and my words? I can't word.
All the monthly challenges, everything is on the website. So please make sure you check it out. Again, it is safpodcast.com.
That is SAF
podcast.com.
What else? It's like an infomercial, you know?
So bad, like Bob Vila.
You have it memorized, and so you just
rattle it shit
I just need to record you doing it and just play.
Yeah. I just sit here behind the mic looks like I'm talking, but I'm not. Yeah, I like that. It's a good idea.
That's not at all what I meant, but sure, we can go with that too.
All right.
Who do we have today, Ryan?
Today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Jen Hirst. She's a sober coach. She is the founder of Sobriety Lighthouse.
Sobriety.
Lighthouse
Womp,
Sobriety.
womp, womp.
My apologies. Jen, amazingly enough, in April is going to be 13 years sober.
That's insane. That's
incredible. Fucking awesome. She has these 6 daily habits to get you sober. She's going to talk about that and also talk about her story, which I'm really interested in hearing about. So
I just thought of something funny.
Yes.
It's Jen's her story.
It is her story.
No, but her last name is Hirst. Yes, do you get it?
I get it.
Do you get it?
Yes.
Do you get it? Are you sure you
God.
get it?
You've got to stop. Please welcome to the show, Jen Hirst.
Hi, Jen. I am cracking up over here
Yeah.
listening to you guys. I never even thought of that. Hirst Ori.
That's
right.
I should brand that. So
You
thank
should
you
brand
guys.
that.
Mic drop.
I'll take
That's
a teeny tiny royalty, okay?
Okay,
Teeny tiny.
will do. Thank you so much.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. Glad to be here.
I can't wait to hear about Sobriety Lighthouse.
I'm such a
Yeah, no worries. No worries. It's, it's the same thing. It's, Lighthouse Sobriety, Sobriety Lighthouse.
I got to
Whatever
give him
you
a
want.
hard time, though.
She always does. I'm terrible with the names sometimes. It's, I don't know, whatever. Shit just gets jumbled up in here. Golly.
I get it.
It's so much fun. We have a lot of fun around here.
So tell us a little bit about Lighthouse Sobriety, where people can find you and what you're all about.
Yeah, well, Lighthouse Sobriety, I created it in 2023 as an aftercare program for when my programs would end. A lot of the women build these really awesome friendships and connections, and I was sending them to other sober communities to stay connected. And then I thought, well, why am I doing that? Why am I separating everybody and telling them to go other places, other communities, when I can just keep them together? And so what it really is a sober community to do and join after you complete my programs, because what my programs do is to get you sober in a way that I wanted, in a way that was working for me 4 years into my sobriety. And so the Lighthouse was born. I brainstorm, and what I like to do with all my ideas is write everything down, see what I can do, what I could create, where I could host this as a way to keep us together. And the best thing that we need, especially in sobriety, is community, right? It's the number one thing you need. It's a number one thing women come to me for that they do not have even years into their sobriety. And so, yes, you can join the membership, and it's a monthly membership. And what I have and what we hold now is weekly meetings, not weekly meetings, I guess 4 to 5 meetings per week. There's a book club. I wanted workouts in there. We have guest speakers. We do monthly challenges. We all stay consistent with the habits as best as we can. And I really wanted to create this to make sobriety something that you want to do and something that you're excited to wake up to. And so it's not AA related in any way. It's just a really amazing community of women who are focused on bettering themselves, continuing to grow through reading and getting to know each other. I think it's such an easy way to tiptoe into sobriety, knowing that you don't have to set room physically or step into a room to make this choice, to just test it out. You can just click join now with Zoom, and you don't have to keep your video on. You don't even have to say anything. And so that's what I wanted. That's what I created for the membership, to keep these women together. And it's awesome. So yeah, that's what the membership is.
Where can people find it?
Oh yeah, duh. You can go to my website, joinlighthousesobriety.com. And then I also like to hang out on Instagram, jenhirst.com. I know my middle name is in there, Jen Hirst. Someone took it. I haven't contacted her. So no, I don't go by Jen Lee. It's just Jen Hirst. And it's just been that way because I'm too lazy to change it. So
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work. I'm just like, you know what? Just keep it.
And we were talking before we started filming, but like social media is so weird about you changing your name. They're like, are you sure? Is it really you?
Right. Is this really
Are we sure?
you?
I'm going to need to see a picture of your identification.
I need to see your ID.
That's
right.
Like,
Sure
geez,
really
Louise, I'll send in my blood sample tomorrow. Gosh.
Well, yeah. And then I tried to do like the Jen Hurst. Someone took that. Jen hyphen. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it.
There you go.
You just need to start numbering them like Jen Hurst 1, Jen Hurst 2, Jen Hurst 3. Like it's
Jen
ridiculous.
Hurst 43. That's me. That's my age.
It makes me think of like, it takes me back to like the AOL, like instant message days, where you're trying to like come up with these like creative, maybe we should bring all that back. I think that one of my friends was like Tiggo Biddies or something stupid like that, And we can just all have these like really ridiculous names and then we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, why not?
There you go.
I love it.
I know.
Oh,
I think so many people can get worked up into the name of what they should call themselves. I'm like, just say your name. Someone has it. Do something creative with it.
That's right. Figure it out.
I know. It doesn't matter. And the best advice I was given, because I'm also a realtor. So when that's how I really got on social media at the beginning. They're like, listen, make sure that your profile picture isn't like an up close picture of your face. They're so tiny. Like that's how people find you. Make sure they can see your face because nobody's paying attention to the name. They just type in your name and then they look through the profile picture. So I agree.
Yeah. I also think Instagram is such a great way to start sharing your story, your sober story. Even if you don't want to put your name out there, you can create a ghost name, a handle, and not say your name. I've had a lot of women go through my programs and starting to post on social just to start to get this out, like their story, and just to start to connect with other people. A woman that I work with, that worked with me, Kristen Beckett, she does mocktails and marathons. She's awesome. She grew her account through that way of she needed a place to just write out her story and connect with other women. And I think it can be a really awesome tool if you use it in those certain ways to just connect with other women and share that story. It is so stinking important.
I'd never thought about too, like creating I know people create ghost accounts, but I love that. Like if you're not ready to put your face or your name on it, because it can be daunting and you just want to be part of that, but you're not ready to be out there. That's a fantastic idea. Just it's not even a fake account. Just create a ghost account and start putting your stories out there so you can kind of dip your toe in the water. That's a fantastic. I love that.
I see a lot of that in the meetings when people are just starting out. Or they're curious, just kind of dipping their toe in a little bit. They just, just throw up a random picture and a name or whatever works, but at least you're there.
It gets you talking about it and putting it out there and 100%. Being honest. It's like your own accountability.
Ready,
that's amazing.
Right? Because it took me 4 years to come out of the closet, the sober closet. And I was doing it by myself. And so until someone, and you'll see usually in accounts, once they have the courage to like put their face up, which is so crazy. I mean, my whole goal is to boost women's confidence to own this choice and to wear it proudly, wear it confidently as something that you get to do, not something that you have to do. But I know it takes time. And so, but it was the one thing that completely changed my life is when I came out of the sober closet on Facebook. I didn't do Instagram back then. And it completely changed my life. And I'm not saying it's going to completely change everyone's life, but that can take time. And you need to feel ready to do that. But I hope to make that gap like quicker, because when you can do that, you can stand tall in this choice. Again, you give other people the opportunity to do the same, that it's not something to be ashamed about, that it's something to celebrate, that we don't do this with anything else. Like, you don't put your picture if you can't eat broccoli and you're like, oh, I don't know if it's okay if like I should do that, because, what if they know that I really don't like it, or I can't control my intake and I get really gassy when I eat broccoli, and, or people are going to question, it's so strange when you think about it, but the more and more that we can get people to do that, oh my gosh. And we're well on our way. I mean, we're well on our way. It's so stinking cool to see the amount of people that are owning this, that are choosing sobriety, not because you have a problem, but because you want to feel better, because you don't like the way it makes you feel. Just like my husband, who quit a year and a half ago, he just didn't like the headaches. And so I think more and more are choosing this and owning it and not feeling ashamed about it, which is super cool. I love that.
Yeah. And I like to you really target women, right? Like you've made that your niche. And I feel like, so I went to an all girls boarding school for high school and loved it, had a fantastic experience. And there's just something really amazing that happens when boys, and I'll say men, boys, are sort of removed. It's not that it's co-ed, everything. I'm all, gender, whatever, but like, it's just, you feel safe, you feel more comfortable, you identify more. I mean, we literally tell children, if you get lost, you go to the first mom or the first woman that you see. So we see a lot more women really like creating these spaces for women specific. And again, it's not for everybody, right? And that's totally fine. But I love seeing all of these different ways that you can connect. I mean, we've had so many guests on and they have varying different resources and tools or coaching or groups. Like, there is something out there literally for everyone if you're ready for it. So tell us a little bit about just how you got sober and into like you said, coming out of the sober closet and then wanting to help other women. I'm very female positive, so I'm really excited to hear your story.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's why I created my programs, and I don't coach men, because when I was going through it, and it's nothing against men, but like you said, I felt way more comfortable in rooms. And I went through AA for 8 to 9 years. And I've been to co-ed meetings, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I felt safer to be more open about my story in a group of women. And so I hoped, and that's what I wanted to create. I wanted women to feel as safe and as comfortable as possible, to be themselves, to share it, to get that out. And so I just created what was working for me. So yeah, I totally agree. But yes, my story, I always like to say that no one is off limits when it comes to alcohol. I, by the books, had a great life, but no one knew what was going on. And it can happen to anyone. It can literally happen to anyone. And I think so many of us hide our drinking out of fear of being rejected. And we go through this by ourselves, and all these scary thoughts come in, and of, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Everybody else can, but I can't. And I know for me is the one thing I learned, or that you can learn by coming into sobriety, is that you can't do it alone, and you shouldn't do it alone. But I tried for so many years because I was so concerned with what other people thought of me. And I was so concerned about that label because back then, 15 years ago, I mean, alcoholic was what I had to label myself. And now I went through this kind of progression of, okay, I'm an alcoholic. I called myself for many years because that's what I thought I had to do. And then I became sober. Okay. Then I told people I was sober. And then more recently, I said I'm alcohol free. Right? We can kind of go through progressions in our sobriety of what feels good for us as we evolve, as we change. But that label kept me back for many years because, I mean, what did that mean? Like all of that. I put so much value in their opinion that I didn't do this thing. And so I thought to myself, if I could just get this thing, then no one would know how much I'm struggling and I can be good. No one knows what I'm doing behind the doors, right? If I can maintain that image, and it almost killed me. So I grew up in a great home from a perfectionist family. Little did my parents know that they were kind of raising me as a perfectionist, where outside appearances were really important. So we appear perfect, we do this, we achieve good grades, we do well in sports, but nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes. Not that it was bad or anything, but I got love by what I could do. As a classic Enneagram 3 now, I now realize that if I could achieve more, I could earn more love and people would like me. But it's really the reason why I didn't share about my sobriety for many years, and why I didn't seek that help out early on, because of those outside appearances. But I did quote unquote normal drinking. I had my first drink at 15, raided my parents' closet. They rarely drank. I mean, my grandfather was an alcoholic. My mom, they were just these nerdy band kids. They always had this alcohol for years and years. And so just a classic freshman, let's raid their closet. They're not home. Did that. And I wasn't addicted from the start, right? And that's what can be kind of tricky. Some people, when they drink, it can be just like turn the lights on. I was like, no, this is disgusting. This sucks. But just did normal drinking it. But it wasn't until I did this and I wrote out my sober story, which I highly encourage people to do, especially in the first 30 days, first 30, 60, 90 days, is to write out your story from start to finish, from your childhood, big events, all of that. And when I wrote this at Hazelden, I did it again at the retreat, I was able to pinpoint the turning point. Like when my drinking went from fun, I mean, was it really ever fun if you can't remember it?
Right.
From fun to I'm going to use this to cope was when my second boyfriend wanted to go on a break. And I know, it's just like, oh my God, my life. Because I remembered how awful that first heartbreak was, like the love of your life. And I was just like, I don't want to feel like this again. I was like, I didn't know what to, when you go through heartbreak, if you guys have ever had your heart broken, you don't know what to do with myself. I was high anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I was just like, "Rrr." And so I was staying with some guys at the time in college and they're like, hey, and they used to abuse Adderall. And I don't know if you've ever tried it, but they're like, here, if you take this, you're going to feel amazing. You're going to feel like God, you're not even going to think about him. And I'm like, no, I don't do drugs. Little did I know alcohol was a drug until 2018. Thank you, Annie Grace. It's like, I don't do drugs though. But I was like, at that point, you're at a breaking point. It's like, I either do this or I feel like crap. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to do it. So I took like 3. I felt amazing. I stayed up all night. I dyed my hair. I'm like, this is the new me. This is awesome. I love this breakup. And then it wore off. The anxiety ramped up. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I panicked. But then it wasn't even that. It was that moment that I was like, no way, I could do the same thing with alcohol. I never have to feel pain again. I never have to feel anxiety again. As someone with social anxiety who gets like freaked out before meeting people, I could just drink. And then everything could just go away. So my drinking didn't even become problematic right after that. But the more and more I faced hard things, the more and more I would drink. And I started getting into some risky situations. I started, of course, and I like to be honest about this, sleeping people and not remembering it, right? Having these things come up and these red flags, I would like to say, come up, and more I drank, the more anxious I got. The more anxious I got, the more I drank. And it really was kind of going back to it. I think Annie Grace says this too. It really was like a 6 to 10 year progression over time of me choosing this coping mechanism more and more to deal with hard things. And so that's really what it was, is choosing that, becoming anxious, and choosing it again. So I started having some wake up calls along the way. My first one being, again, just waking up, not knowing what happened. Of course, blacking out became a regular, thinking that if I could have a relationship with someone, that means I would be liked, I'd be accepted. Came when, classic, January 1st, 2005, got a DWI, right?
Mm.
And so you would think that would be my first wake-up call. It wasn't. Of course, it scared me. I started reconsidering what I was doing, but I continued to drink. I did all the things and I continued to drink, but it really wasn't until the year leading up to my wedding in 2010. So it really a 5-year progression of me kind of drinking when things got hard. I remember in 2009 as well, my anxiety was so bad from drinking that I had a psych ward stay, a 72 psych ward stay. I remember another point in 2005, a guy wanted to go on a break. And so I downed a bunch of aspirin to take the pain away and wasn't going to tell anybody. I just wanted to sleep. And I woke up, I started throwing up blood. I couldn't hear. And so I went to the hospital where they had to pump my system. So just, again, feeling pain, that's really what started my drinking turning point, feeling pain, feeling heartbreak, and then ramping up and giving me anxiety. And so the year leading up to my wedding, meeting my husband, right? I had a lot going on. As an Enneagram 3, high performer, workaholic, I worked full time. I produced 4 magazines. I did freelance on the side for a wedding magazine to earn more income, to pay for our wedding. And I was doing it all by myself and planning our wedding, should I say, all by myself, which created so much overwhelm. And as a perfectionist, I didn't want anybody else to help me because I wanted it done my way, right? I remember giving my husband, he's over there, so I don't want to talk too loudly. I remember like, hey, can you put these stamps on the invitations? I'm like, I'll give him one thing. What you can't mess it up. And then they were like crooked. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, put a stamp on correctly. It's just like that was the level of intensity that I was. Instead of, now I'm being like, whatever, I really don't care if they're crooked, right? I wouldn't even probably do invitations anymore. But it was really just all of this stuff. And I didn't know how I was going to get all of this stuff done before the wedding. I was drinking. The more and closer the wedding got, I was drinking more. And in this time, I would give myself goals like, okay, if you can go 3 days without drinking, you're not an alcoholic. I remember walking my dogs, around our apartment complex, like hungover, trying to show up for my full-time job, and then doing freelance, doing all the wedding details. I'm like, okay, deep breaths. You're not going to drink today. Trying to sweat it out by running. If you can do this day, you can. And I couldn't do it. Maybe I could do 1 or 2 days and I couldn't do it. And I was getting scared, but I didn't tell anybody because if I told someone, they're going to want to put me and do AA and something's wrong with me. And so in order to get all the things done before our wedding, I started to take Adderall. I knew I could do a lot of things on Adderall. I could get all the things done. So I was mixing Adderall with alcohol. And it was really, and that's what I like to put in my before pictures in my drinking. I don't have a lot of pictures of me passed out, in bed or like drunken pictures, because a lot of my drinking, it eventually escalated to me drinking by myself at home alone. But before I was going out with friends, doing it socially. And then it turned into just by myself. My husband would go out. I would stay home and work and drink to manage the stress and to relax. And then I started hiding it. Right. And so you'll see pictures of me on my wedding day. And it is one of the best days of my life. It was also one of the hardest. I wasn't there. I was freaked out. I was so anxious. I started drinking in the morning. I started taking Adderall because I was hungover, so it would take away my hangover. And all I said to myself was, just get through it, and then you can relax. Like, put on the show, put on the smile, cover up your bags, and just get through this day. And I did, right? Of course, I blacked out and it was amazing. It was perfect, but I really wasn't there. But that's why I like to say that outside appearances can be really deceiving, of the lengths that I went through to try to cover this up, to perform, to have this elaborate wedding that everybody wanted. And I thought that I wanted. And looking back, I mean, my gosh, I would just elope. I mean, maybe that's what a lot of people say. I would have just eloped. It's not worth all of the hoopla, because what really matters is just us, right? And so I always wanted to do my wedding again, to have a do-over now with our 2 kids, of being present the way I would have wanted it. But it was in that moment, I did it, I was able to do it, but I could not stop drinking. I literally, 2 days later, even a day after I collapsed, I stopped hiding it. I started drinking around the clock, which I was doing before. I just stopped hiding it. And I started laying in bed. I wasn't showing up for work, or I tried to show up for work. I couldn't because I was too hungover. And so really the year after we married, they say, and maybe it was for you guys too, the year after you get married is one of the hardest, right? And I think for us, it was so stinking hard, because he had no idea. He had no idea what I was doing. I was really good at hiding it. I was hiding it in closets. I would put peanut butter on my teeth to kind of mask the alcohol. And it began this 1.5-year journey, like a 1.5 years of figuring out what was going on with me. The next step, going to my first AA meeting, because that's all that was around. There was nothing. And so, and I'm not dissing AA. I think it's a great program. It just wasn't for me. As I evolved, as I grew in this journey, and going there drunk, him taking me, keeping tabs on me, just all of this stuff, getting my sponsor, that wasn't working, going into outpatient. Okay, maybe that's going to help. Not working, switching to mouthwash. So mouthwash became my drink of choice. And this can really, and I hope to just instill the picture of how fast this can progress, and the lengths that I was going to hide it, over how much shame that I felt over what I was doing. I didn't want to do it. I had to do it in order to feel normal. And I kept saying, well, I haven't lost my car. I haven't lost my job. And then I started to lose those things, right? I started to get myself in really risky situations, but all I wanted to do was take the pain away. I didn't want to do it. I just felt like I had to do it. So I switched to mouthwash, because I heard it had the same amount of alcohol as a bottle of vodka. And I was like, at the time, rotating my liquor stores, which I think a lot of us do, so they wouldn't know my face, that I was coming in every freaking day, and then deciding at night, okay, I'm going to quit. Tomorrow's the day. I'm going to do this. Nighttime comes in. I get freaked out. I go and buy a bottle, right? So you pour it out, then you buy it again, pour it out. And so I switched to mouthwash, because I could just go into Target and I could buy a couple bottles of mouthwash. I could get the same effect, and I don't have to feel bad about it. No one would know. I'd wear my hat to hide my bags, and I just started doing that. Little did I know, and maybe I knew, I just didn't care how lethal that is for your system. And other forms of alcohol. Once my husband found out about the mouthwash, that I was drinking it, I tried hand sanitizer. And then anything I could get my hands on, including rubbing alcohol, which is lethal, which I started profusely vomiting. Then going to a meeting, I didn't have to go to the hospital. Anyways, just other forms to just get that fix, right? And so I entered my first inpatient in 2012, 9 months, almost 10 months after, 11 months after our wedding. I finally got the courage to go into inpatient. I always talked myself out of it, because I thought I was going to be fired from my job if they knew about this thing. And it scared me. But I can honestly say it was some of the, I wouldn't say the best days of my life, right? But it was so incredibly helpful. I felt so safe. I felt so connected, so not alone. When I could say, I did this and I did this. And I should say, even after treatment, I think it's I went to Hazelden, the big Hazelden Betty Ford in Center City, Minnesota. Thought that was going to be my cure. I really wanted sobriety. I just wasn't ready. And I think Matthew Perry said this first, and I always like to say this, is that when you get sober, you need to have 2 things. Number 1, you got to really want it. Like no one else. You have to really want this, because if you force someone to do this, more often than not, it's not going to work. Number two, you got to be ready. And I really wanted to sobriety. I knew that was best for me. I just wasn't ready, and I had to do some field research. I just told myself, okay, I know I feel great, but when I get out, I'm just going to do it one more time. Just one more. And I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. And so I did. Fell super hard. Drinking ramped up. February 14th of 2013, I got my second DWI. And I should say, even before then, I went back into treatment, did their extended care stay at Hazelden, was there through Thanksgiving, got out right before Christmas in order to hang out with my family. I relapsed after that. Okay. But in this time, I knew what was holding me back. I knew what it was. And it was the fact that I had been doing Adderall on and off and keeping it a secret. That was the only secret that I had, because I wasn't really addicted to Adderall. I was just using it to get things done and to feel better with my situation. But I knew I needed to become clean about that in order to get sober for good. And so in this period, again, relapsing after I got out the second time for their 60-day stay, on the February 14th, got my second DWI, rush hour traffic. I just kind of shared it on Instagram recently, the whole scenario of how that went down. Open bottle in the car, blew a .24. Luckily, I didn't hurt anybody. Luckily, I didn't hurt myself. Got my car impounded. I lost my job. And all these things I started to lose. Because I'm like, I think a lot of times we can say, well, I haven't done that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a saying where you just add yet to those things. You haven't done that yet, because drinking is progressive. It's going to get worse and worse the more that you do it, the more that you consume, the frequency, all of those things. And I started to lose that. And I knew that secret was holding me back. But in this period, I was going to my parents. They had to keep tabs on me. My husband kicked me out. He was setting boundaries. I felt alone. I felt controlled, which only made me want to drink more. And I felt my body shutting down. I was on naltrexone. I was on Antabuse. I drank on Antabuse. I started throwing up blood eventually. And it wasn't until I remember on my childhood bed, staying at my parents' house, and my hands started going numb. And my heart, of course, kept racing. It was probably like heart palpitations, but I was scared. And I looked up cardiac arrest because I was mixing Adderall with alcohol as a recurring thing. I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm going into cardiac arrest. So it said, drink some milk. I'm like, I didn't want to freak out my parents. So I just started taking deep breaths, all of these things. And so it wasn't until April 23rd of 2013, my last day drinking. My last drink was a bottle of mouthwash. I was at my dad's office. I was throwing up in the trash can. I was sneaking it and buying it at Target downtown in Minneapolis, him keeping tabs on me, and I blacked out. And the next thing I knew, I came to outside, and it was nice out. And he just said, you're going to detox. And then I went back into a blackout. I woke up in the ER. And I just said to my mom, help me. And I think that was the first time I actually asked for help. I never asked for help. I never asked for help on my wedding. And I just drank through it. I never asked for help with anything. And this was the first time I was just like, there's nothing left. And I was in a blackout. And I blew a .34, which is high. But to me, what scared me most was the fact that I'd been drinking like that for well over 2 years. Like, how many other times did I come close? I know I've drank more than that. I remember waking up and our couch was torn apart. My husband traveled a lot, so I was home by myself. I had no idea what happened. I didn't know if someone broke in. I don't know if I took a knife to the couch. I had no idea. Just scary situations like that. And so I went to a detox facility, and it was at that moment on April 24th where I came to from a hangover, and my mom kind of helping me on the 23rd to pack up my bags for detox. This would be my second detox stay. She was packing up my things, and she found like my clean urine. These are like the links that you go to try to protect this choice. Like, I would have clean urine that this is embarrassing, but I don't care. I would put in a pill bottle and I would stick it up my hoo-ha to be body temperature for when they would test me at Hazelden to cheat my UAs. And she found that, which was incredibly humbling, but it was in the detox bed where I was talking to another girl we were all scared, alone, not to know what to do. But it was in that moment where I kind of like had an out of body experience where I just like looked down on my life. I had court the next day for my DWI and I couldn't make it because I was in detox. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I have literally nothing left. My husband's not talking to me. My parents wouldn't allow me home. I was literally homeless. As someone who had great grades, I achieved a lot in school. You would never think that this could happen to me. But of course, I did this. But a lot of conditioning did this too. I was like, what am I doing? It's like I woke up and I'm like, at that moment, I'm just said, I'm done. I am so, excuse my language, but your podcast has it in it. So I think I can say this. I am so fucking done. I am so fucking done. And it was in that moment that I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to keep my marriage. I don't know how I'm going to rebuild. I have so much crap to clean up. I don't have a car. I don't have a job. I don't have any money. I literally had $200. But as long as I don't drink, I can't make this any worse. So I just gave it up and I just kept doing the next right thing. I called homeless shelters. They didn't, they gave me the info. And then I called chemical assessment. I called my parents who agreed to keep me in as long as I went to an inpatient, which I knew I had to do for DWIs anyway. I knew I had to do that. I was able to find a different place, which I loved, which was out of pocket. So I charged $2,700 to my card. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm not going to make it, right? But I already knew I was done. Like I would make that decision. And that's why when you get sober, it can be so complicated. People ask me like, what did it take for you? And I can't really say that. It took so many things I don't know if it was the first treatment, the second treatment, the third treatment. It was the second DWI, the first DWI, me on house arrest. Like it was so many things stacked on top of another, of my husband setting boundaries, my parents setting boundaries, me losing things till I got to that moment where I was done trying to make this work. And I didn't want to. I did not want to drink anymore, period. But I didn't expect anybody to believe me. Anybody. And they didn't. They were just like, I don't know what to do with her. This treatment is supposed to cure her, but she's not cured. What's wrong with her? Right? And so I just entered my treatment. I did my own thing and I gave the people space. My husband and I didn't talk while I was in treatment. And then one day he just showed up and, that's like, those are the surprises. I don't know. It's like every time you share your story, you're like, I've told this so many times, but you can still get choked up at moments. But everything became so much easier when I stopped trying to fight it. When you make that, it's an internal decision. It's a decision with yourself. And I can say from that moment forward, it was easy, but at the same parts, of course, I had so much stuff to clean up, but getting sober, that part was so much easier when I knew I was done, if that makes any sense. And so I can't say that my life was perfect. I had, again, so much stuff to clean up. I had to do a day in jail. I had to do probation. I had to be on house arrest. I had to get a job. I got a job back I got a job at a local printing shop that I could bike to because I didn't have a car until I got a job back in my field. I had to pay thousands in lawyer fees. I had so much credit card debt. I have all this stuff. I do community service, get my license back. I had all this stuff. I just like, okay, the next thing, as long as I don't drink, I can't make this any worse. And it's so crazy what can happen to your life when you take and you stop doing this one thing. All I was doing was not drinking. But again, I was going to my court-ordered meetings. I was going to my court-ordered treatments, all of the things. I followed aftercare, did my outpatient. I got a sponsor. I did the steps like 5 times, all of those things that they make you do, which I think are super helpful. And within 4 months, I got a job back in my field as a graphic designer at a great company. Within 4 months, something that I really wanted in sobriety that tore me apart was the fact that I couldn't have a kid because I couldn't take care of myself. And I saw a lot of my friends getting pregnant, and we couldn't bring a child into this because I couldn't take care of myself. And so it was within a few months, my husband started to begin to trust me where we could start trying for a baby, which is crazy, guys, 3 months. And within 4 months, we learned I was pregnant. I got pregnant really fast. It's amazing when you start to treat your body right, what can happen. I know that's not the case for many women. I just thought for the crap I poured into my body, I'm going to be infertile. I know it. It's going to take years. And so I like to say, like, my kids are my greatest why. Like, they're the greatest gift to come out of my sobriety was the fact that I could treat my body like shit and be able to have 2 amazing, healthy kids to come out of it. They would never be around if I didn't get sober. Within 6 months, I got a promotion in my job. Within a year and a half, within less than a year, we had my son. He was like the greatest gift to come out of my sobriety. He came 2 weeks before my first soberversary, which is so awesome. And then we got a house. And I have to say, before I went into my last treatment, I had to get honest. And this is really important. You got to get honest with yourself, with other people. And so, like I said before, the one thing that was preventing me from getting sober was coming clean to my husband about my Adderall use. Even though it wasn't a problem, right? I just did it to try to feel a little bit better out of the crap that I was feeling of drinking. And so I sat him down and I was like, honey, can I talk to you? And my husband is one of the most laid back, chill people on the planet. We're very yin and yang. And so I thought, okay, if I tell him this, he's going to literally flip his lid. He's going to destroy our house. He's going to walk out and say he wants a divorce because I'm lying to him. But I've been lying to him for years from my drinking, right? So what's one more? And so I sat him down, I'm like, hey, can I talk to you? Before I go into treatment, I have to tell you this one thing that I haven't told you. He's like, okay. I just said about my Adderall. Very matter of fact. He's like, okay. He's like, are you done? Done using, right? I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, okay, then we're good. As long as you're good, we're good. I'm like, is that it? Because I had this whole vision that you were going to which is totally not like him, but it's crazy what your mind can do. But that was preventing me from getting sober for so long. And I was like, oh, okay, now that you know that, I don't have any more secrets. That's it. That's nothing else. And so that evening before I went to treatment, which I wouldn't see him again for another 30 days. So we were gone for our first year and a half of marriage. For a good 4 months, we weren't together because I was in treatment. And we took a drive. And it was we went to Tommy's. I had this really good grilled cheese sandwich with a milkshake. It was so good. And then we took a drive through this neighborhood. And I just saw, it was sunset, and this is just the power of visualization. And we didn't talk. We weren't talking. He was still pretty upset over what happened a couple days after my last drink. And I just saw what our life could be like, of this house with a fence and these I saw 2 kids. And I just kept that vision. I'm like, this is what's possible if we can make it. If we can make it through this, we can make it through anything. And it's so crazy that now we don't have a fence, right? But that is my life today. And not even that life, such a better life. We have 2 kids. I have a boy and a girl. How amazing is that? We have a house. Now, I did not picture us moving to the country, but it's crazy how life can change. As a typical city girl marrying a small town boy, how much I love this small town. I'm like, oh my God, wow, I love it here. We have land, we have acres, we have cats, we have a dog, we have 14 chickens. It's so crazy what can come when you choose this choice and how much your life can change. And all I was doing was not drinking. And so we welcomed our daughter. And again, I was continuing to be a graphic designer. I did not talk about my sobriety for 4 years. I thought, again, raised in the rooms of AA, you don't talk about this. You don't talk about it. You can acknowledge people if they're okay with it. But there was something in me that was I want to talk about it. I don't understand why I should be anonymous. And it was in this moment, and stop me at any point if we need to cut me off. Okay.
Absolutely
cut me off in
not.
a great
Keep
way,
going.
not from alcohol.
Keep going.
Cut me off from just talking too much, because this is how much I wanted to share. I had so much to share, but I didn't think anybody cared. I didn't think anybody wanted to hear it. And it was in this random post as someone I loved working out. and I love nutrition and things like that. So I started following Beachbody back then. And I came across this random girl's transformation. I think muscles are super motivating and inspiring for women. And her transformation was crazy. So I messaged this random woman. I'm like, how can I work with you? She was a Beachbody coach. Now, this how it ties into sobriety is because I started to become a Beachbody coach. Really strange. I never do anything like this. I never follow anyone that's a stranger or even message them. But there was some reason that I was following her. And it's part of a Beachbody coach. You have to share your story, like yourself on social, which was very weird. I didn't take pictures of myself. I didn't like the way I looked. But there was this one thing, and I would share about my soberversary every year, but I'd keep it very like on the DL of this is a really big day for me. And like, that's it, with like a picture of my kids. Because I don't know if people that I worked with knew this, what would they think about it? Right? They would think less of me if I struggled with this. I was so concerned with other people think, but in this period of this, me trying to share myself on social, within 2 weeks, I said to my husband, I said, I think I'm supposed to come out about my sobriety. I think I want to share that, because how am I supposed to think or expect people to trust me if they don't know this huge part of myself? Like, my husband knew, my family knew, my friends like kind of knew, but I didn't talk about it. They didn't ask. I didn't tell. But I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to come out. And so I wrote it quickly. And I was like, 5 minutes, took a picture of myself, posted it right before I went to my AA meeting. I threw the phone. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Oh my God, I like shared this stuff. I said, I'm an alcoholic. It was so easy for me to write. And then I came back with so much love and so much encouragement. I'm like, oh my God, now I don't have to hide. And from that moment forward, I didn't start sharing about sobriety every day. I would just kind of sprinkle it in. And I realized I don't think I'm supposed to help women lose weight. I think I'm supposed to help them get sober. People are interested in what I'm sharing and what I'm doing. And over time, that was in 2017. I didn't start becoming a coach until 2021. People started, and women started getting into my DMs. They're like, how did you do this? What did you do here? I started coaching them in my DMs, and I'm like, well, what if I started coaching women, right? Could I do that? Do I need to have some sort of degree? But then I'm like, I've been sober for 8 years, right? I know what I'm doing. I've had a lot of experience with treatment and AA and all of that. And my experience is what's going to help them. Of what I'm doing, taking care of myself. How am I staying sober? What did I do? What could I instill in them? And how could I rebrand sobriety in a way that was fun, but also talking about the hard stuff? How could I do it in my way to get them sober? So I started coaching women one-on-one, but I wanted the group setting. So I get this momentum. I get us to start on the same day. I give them some challenges. I give them some daily habits. And I coach them through this. Week 1, what are you going to expect? Before you get sober, let's talk about withdrawal. What are you going to experience so you don't freak out? What can you have in your corner to make this process a little bit easier? How can we boost dopamine naturally so you create this life that you don't want to escape, that you don't want to go back, because you've created such an amazing life where we have check-ins. I give you motivation. We coach. We meet together. I put you in Marco Polo groups. And I encourage you to keep at this. Even if you fall back, it's not a failure. It is a learning opportunity. What can you learn from it? Because that is what I did to get sober. I learned from every single time I went back. And it took me a million day ones to finally get it. But all it takes is just that one chance when you're ready and you really want it for it to work. And you got to surround yourself with other women who are also doing this to know you're not alone and there's nothing wrong with you. So it's evolved and it's changed and it continues to grow from there. And it's so awesome. And I help women stay sober, or I help myself stay sober by helping other women get sober. And it's just the magic of sobriety, right? So I know I took up a lot of time. That's my story. And that's how it kind of evolved. But
I love every second of it.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. I love it. I've resonated with so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
My thing, I was hiding gambling from Jessica. So I was just a terrible drunk, drink all the time. And as you told your story about the weight being lifted off you when you finally said that, that was gambling for me, was finally coming to her saying, I mean, you want to talk about, and you probably went through this too. I went through 1,000 things that were going to happen, and they all ended with, okay, so I'm going to leave your ass. I'm going to go get a divorce attorney tomorrow. You know, it's like all these different scenarios. And then I told her about it. It was just very open and honest. You know, I've put us in all this debt, you know, yada, yada, yada. And it was really kind of the same reaction. She's like, you know, well, okay, what are we going to do? What are you going to do about it? You know, but that weight just really helped my sobriety move forward quickly. I mean, I knew I wanted to stop, but that was the big monkey on my back. She knew I had a drinking problem because, you know, just like yourself, I was a secret drinker for a long time. She knew I drank, but she had no idea how much I drank because I would go to the bar, then I would come home. That's when the party really started. Mm-hmm. So yeah, getting that out, being open, honest with yourself and with others, huge game changer for me as it was for you. I really resonated with that as you were telling your story.
Yeah, and I think too, you know, I remember you coming clean, and this is our experience. I don't know about anybody else's, but I hear you say I didn't know how much. I did. That's the thing. The reality was I did. I knew how much drinking there was and gambling and all of those things. And it was never, well, let me back up. Drinking, using drugs, mental health issues, none of those things define who you are as a person. They don't make you good or bad. We get stuck in these very like, you know, bipolar worlds where if you do these things and you're a bad, shitty person, but if you do these things and you're a good person. And I grew up with a single mom who was a cycle breaker, raised my brother and I, gave us everything. And she was a fantastic mom, but also she was very strict about certain things. And it was, you know, it's important the way that things are perceived on the outside, which to a degree is true, right? We talked about before we started filming, like multiple things can be true and valid at the same time. But we in our marriage were those people who, from the outside looking in, unless you were our close friends, you didn't know how bad it was, right? So I sort of saw through that veil, and understanding that someone is flawed or struggling was never the problem as far as giving or receiving love. Right? Because I remember multiple times, and I have a sobriety story myself, but like you stopped drinking before I did. So it was always no matter what it is, and this did not happen, but you went out and got drunk and you cheated on me. Okay, well, you know, I just need you to be honest. I need you to be honest and upfront about what's happening, right? Because something else that we do is sometimes we listen to other people too much. And things are never that black and white and clear. And luckily, you know, you never like got drunk and cheated on me. But even then, like, it's not that simple, because something that Ryan said, I think it was in our first season, is he's like, you know, I've never actually like cheated on my wife, but I have cheated on her with alcohol and gambling. That was my mistress. That was my love. I would have thrown everything in my life, including my wife and kids, completely to the wolves for that. I made love to those things. I mean, I was in love with that more than I was my wife. So yeah, I absolutely cheated on you in the worst way possible. And that's a big statement to make, because it is a full recognition of your actions and ultimate accountability. And I feel that it's very difficult to take accountability for things you've done without allowing it to really break down your self-esteem. You allow yourself to hold that as a superpower, right? And with drinking and drug use or any addiction or mental health, I mean, it warps your mind. It really is like someone going in there and playing with your mind. And, you know, something you said about like the Adderall and taking in clean pee and things like that. you don't have anything to be embarrassed of, because, you know, and I say this every time, my brother was an addict for 20 years, all the things, but I remember him showing up to my house high as hell, asking for my toddler's pee. You know, and I remember hearing stories from my friends who are now sober but were addicts, who told me those exact same stories, where they would be like, I would take it in and I would smuggle it like literally in my vagina because it needed to be room temperature.
Yes. Ugh.
And then
and it
one
hurts so bad.
Yeah, one of them I heard was
It's like, ow, 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 ow. Go into
Right.
treatment. Ow, ow, ow,
they
ow.
would put it into a balloon and put it in their vagina or her vagina, because they
balloon?
would watch you pee. And then this is
Yeah.
not advice. Oh my gosh, I feel like I should trigger warning. Like, I'm not telling anybody to
I
do
know.
this.
You know what?
Whatever. And
They're going to
so
get it on
when they would,
ChatGPT anyway. So
right.
Yeah.
So when they would go to the bathroom and somebody was watching, they could discreetly pop the balloon inside and it would look like they were actively peeing.
Mhm.
And so you're right. Like, the things that you are willing to do, because it is a literal monster who has taken over your brain, right? Like, and is making you do these things. Now, of course, it's you choosing these things, but I mean, even from a scientific point of view, a medical point of view, like, neurologically speaking, your brain is altered. Your frontal lobe is being damaged. Your decision making, your rationale is skewed, which is why the first step is you have to remove the substance. You have to remove anything that triggers you. You know, like, you had to go to rehab. You can't talk to your husband. There are people who have to up and literally move across the country and change their phone number and everything. My brother had to do that because you have to completely build yourself from the ground up. But what you build is yours, right? Like, I'm sure you are so protective of your peace, of your family, because you're like, I literally dragged myself out of hell and built this. So the only person in the world who can fuck this up for me is me, right? And I think your story just resonates on so many levels. And yes, you focus on women, but like, there are people all over who have those exact same struggles. Like, I talk about, I quit drinking almost 2 years ago, and I also smoke weed, and I quit that as well. And I didn't have I'm using air quotes here, problem with alcohol or anything. I didn't drink every day. I could order a drink, I could moderate. But I had this moment where I was like, this is an abuser. This is something that it didn't even have to like hurt me. Like, it didn't have to cause me to get a DUI or end up in rehab, to literally almost destroy everything in my life. And I don't want to partake in something that is violently abusing people I care about. I don't want to be tethered to something like that. And then through that, I realized that I would even use alcohol. Like, when he was drinking, as much as I hated his drinking, well, if we went to the casino and we gambled together and drank together and had fun, then I could at least dissociate for a certain amount of time and be like, well, we're having fun together. We're doing these things together. And how much did I contribute? Or saying, well, and I literally would say this to my best friend. Well, the great thing about when Ryan fucks up real big is he feels so shitty about it that I can do whatever I want to for like a month or two, and he won't say a word about it, or we'll just go on a really big vacation or whatever. And it becomes this manipulative cycle. So it took me a while to realize, like, I do have a problem with alcohol. Maybe it didn't manifest in a DUI or any of those other things, but it most certainly sucked me into that vortex and started making me become a version of myself that I did not like at all. Like, I am not the kind of person to take advantage of someone else just because I'm hurting. But that's what it made me do, was I would literally sit there and feed him beers while he's on the couch, thinking, please just pass out on the couch so I can go to bed. Like, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, that made me a culprit in that.
Enabling, right?
Enabling. And so there's so much to it. And I mean, I could literally talk about this for an hour and a half as well. But, and maybe this is a good or bad thing. Maybe it means that I just, choose my friends
Just
not so
opened up the
wisely.
can, right? We need to.
But I'm like, everything you were saying in your story, none of it shocked me.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a good way. I'm like, yep, check, yep. That sounds.
Fill up
yep,
the hoo-ha.
Yep. I mean, my brother. Yeah. It's like my brother probably really, and same with you, maybe not as many as him, but should have like 8 or 9 DUIs. But really, legally, he's only had like 3 or 4, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's part of it too. Is and it's natural, you feel like the sky's falling and something huge happens. But those first handful of times, it's like you get away with it, and you're like, okay. Well, that wasn't that bad. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't do all these things. Like my brother's rationale, he's like, I'm not married. I don't have kids. The only person I'm hurting is myself, and I'm allowed to hurt myself if I want to.
Yeah.
And so it could just go on forever. But, and I hate quoting celebrities, but it's true. I remember like Robert Downey Jr., and I'm not going to get this verbatim, but he's in an interview and he's talking about his sobriety because he's very famously like sober. And he said that it got to a point where he would literally put a loaded gun in his mouth because he enjoyed the taste of it. And he's like, you want to know what got me sober? And it sounds so simple, but it's not. He's like, I woke up one day and I looked in the mirror and I said, I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
Yeah, that's it. That was for me too.
Why? I don't.
What am I doing?
I literally looked at myself in the mirror and just one day decided, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Same thing with you. I don't want to do this anymore. My brother, talk about living, and he has a genius IQ. We had a great childhood. He was the same way, like perfect kid. And right before he got sober, he was living under a bridge, hadn't eaten in days, strung out. And he said the same thing. He was like, I was perfectly fine to die at that time. I was not afraid of it. But I just woke up and I looked around and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like if I die getting sober, so be it. But I don't want to do this anymore. And made a change. And I know that is not what people want to hear. Like they want to know, like, what was the thing? Like, what's the secret sauce? And the secret is that there's no secret.
It's a decision.
It is a decision.
Yes.
And same thing. I've heard you say it. I've heard you say it. I heard my brother say it. Everybody who is in recovery says it. They're like, I didn't know why or how, but I knew that if I wake up and I stay sober and I do good things, my intentions are good. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm making good choices, that things would work out. How? I don't know. But I'm going to just try to be a good person, and I'm going to try to make good choices, and I'm not going to drink, and I'm not going to use. And even on my worst days, I'm just going to go, okay, you know what? I did the best I could today. Tomorrow's a new day, and I'm just going to trust that that's going to lead me somewhere good. And it does. Same thing with you. And I'm sure that's really what led you into, like, you have your steps or your things that women do every single day. Yeah. And it's part of that, right? Like, listen, I'm not saying that if you do these things every day, every single day, you're going to go, oh my God, I feel like a new person. Like today was such a wonderful day.
That's going to get you sober. Drink water. No.
Right.
Yeah.
No, like just go outside. Like
get outside and get some sun on your face, guys.
Oh my God. Because then you do run into, and you realize this once you're in recovery, then there's like toxic positivity, right? Like anything can be whatever. But the best thing that I've ever heard, and I know it's said before, is like, some days are going to be shitty and you're going to hate it. Just fucking do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't have to love it while you're doing it.
That's what I try to share on social. I'm not going to give you the highlight reel. You're going to see, and there's so many people that's like, don't show them when you're struggling. I'm like, yeah, show me when you're struggling so I know you're human. So I lost my dog a couple months ago, very unexpectedly. And I know I've done the work, done the process, but I shared about it. I shared the grief. I put myself crying, and I do this a lot because I'm like, this is how I'm processing this emotion. You still have that's the hard part of sobriety, is you got to feel stuff. You have to work through it. You have to process. And so just sharing myself crying, going through grief. So what do I need? I need to remember to eat. I need to retreat to my room, close the door, and cry my fucking eyes out. I need to go on a walk, have a sad walk, like all of this stuff. So it's showing that part of you that I think is so stinking helpful for someone to know they're not alone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And I feel like in society, even separate from like addiction or anything that we're talking about, we have really bought into this whole like you're never supposed to feel pain sort of deal, like whether it be with pharmaceuticals or whether it be with mental health or anything. Like if you feel pain, then how do we fix it? Well, what do you mean? Like, how do we fix what's causing the pain, or how do you just get the pain to go away? Because sometimes neither of those things are realistic. Like, pain, whether it be emotional or physical, is your body's way of communicating with you. There's something going on that you need to pay attention to, right? And like grief is the loss of something, and it hurts and it's horrible and it's bad, but it doesn't need to be ignored. Like your body, I mean, my mom passed away 2 years ago, the worst thing I've ever been through, but you have to go through those steps. Like grief is a real thing. It's what connects us to the things that we've lost. Or if you're talking about pharmaceuticals, like if your stomach hurts, I'll just use that as an example. Like, okay, well, what is it? Like, did you not eat today? Is it just a bellyache? Is there something going on? Like, don't be so quick to push the pain away. And pay attention to it. Figure out where it's coming from and then adjust from there. We are so quick in this world for instant gratification, right? Don't feel pain, instant gratification. I want it now. And that is a very dark path that you can take, because what you do is you condition yourself to just push aside and push aside and push aside until it festers. And that is what leads to these mental health disorders. And I say mental health because it is all under the umbrella of mental health. Like whether you're drinking or using drugs or depression, whatever, they all fall under this huge umbrella of mental health. They're just their own little things. But, stopping drinking, stopping using, that's just step one. That is just to detox your mind and reset, right? And that's the hardest thing in recovery too, is you're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to understand how your mind works and sit with how you're feeling and like desensitize yourself to the need to always be okay. We always have to be okay, right? Like
I think in perimenopause, you're never okay.
no,
no, I mean, like I get one, maybe 2 days a month right now. So I'm just like,
right.
All right.
But that's how it is. Like,
yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing too, is, people will be like, well, what do you do? Well, some days I don't do anything. Sometimes I'm like, today's just going to suck. And so 25% is my 100% today. I mean, and it doesn't give you allowance to like be a shitty person or not get your shit done, but like you just adjust accordingly. Like I make a joke to him and I say, he employs a lot of women, and I'm like, listen, okay, buddy, man, boy, you work with all these women, right? So you have to think that a vast majority of them on any given day are like bleeding profusely and their hormones are out of whack and they're emotional and they've had all these things going on and they're in physical and emotional pain, right? And you say, hey, Jan, how are you today? And she's like, I'm great. How are you? And just goes on about her day. And I know this is not gender specific, but we're talking about women here. And I'm not saying that you should just be like, oh my God, like it's like, it's a big mess down there. But at the same time, like it is okay to just be like, I'm just really tired today. I'm great. I'm going to go to my office and get my stuff done. But like, if you don't see me smiling today, there's a reason. We've got to quit expecting, especially women, to smile or pretend like everything's okay. I love that you show that like days that you're crying, right? Because, of course we all, like I have, a pound of makeup on right now. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But at the same time, like it's okay whenever you're breaking out and you're sad and stuff too. I enjoy seeing people. That's a horrible way to put it. I don't enjoy seeing people struggle, but I love seeing people showing those raw and real moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the trick is there's no trick. There's
Mm-hmm.
no, you don't just become magically a different person. You just reconnect with yourself and you realize if it sucks, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You just do it anyways.
You're going to have
You
off
just
days.
do it anyways. You
And I
go,
think,
people like,
yeah, like, I mean, what you were saying, that you just accept that you're going to have off days. You don't need to fix it. You just ask yourself, what is it I really need right now? I asked myself that this morning. I really want to work out. I really want to go to the gym. I literally just don't have time. And what I ask myself, I mean, I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk because I committed to it. But I ask myself, what is going to help my anxiety the most, or like overwhelm? I'm behind on work and all of this stuff is, and as someone who had a really busy weekend, I need to like decompress. And this is something that I didn't do a year ago. If I have a busy weekend and I'm like, I need to work out. I need to stay consistent. Go, 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 go. If I don't take my foot off the gas and I work out when my body is under stress, I'm going to increase that stress so much more and put myself in not a great situation. So
you're
today
going to end up sick.
yeah. And so I asked myself, I'm like, no, I just, what would actually make me feel better is to not work out, to get a couple things done. I'm going to go on my walk, which is a workout. It's great for your health and mental health. I'm going to know that that's okay instead of go, go, because I'm an achiever. Go, go, go. I'm not going to put my body in a state of stress when it's already stressed. I need to decompress to build up, to refuel. So yeah, just it is a day by day thing. Grief. What
It
do I need right
is.
now? I need to cry. I just need to feel freaking sad. And it's so interesting, the stages of grief, to know what stage I was in now that I know about grief of, okay, I'm in the denial stage. I can't believe he's gone. The bargaining. Oh my God, if I just would have brought him in sooner, he would still be here. You know, the anger stage. I went and punched a punching bag at the gym and messed up my hands, but it felt great. Felt really awesome. I got the anger out. Sadness. Cried my freaking eyes out for a week. You know, it's just, you allow yourself to process it in a way, and not having to rush these things. I always think with any emotion that you're feeling, one of the best things that you can do, if it's happiness, sadness, anxiety, all of those things, go on a walk. I know it sounds stupid, sounds really stupid, but go on a 10-minute walk. Process. I mean, if you're having anxiety, that anxiety needs to move through that body. You cannot just sit with anxiety. You got to move it through. Sadness, go on a walk, right? You need to get fresh air, change of scenery, vitamin D, dopamine production, sunlight. If there's any emotion that you're feeling, you don't know what to do, yes, we can sit with it, but also if you can just go for a walk, oh my God, you're going to feel, it's not going to cure anything, but my God, you're not going to regret it. So
Yeah, it just provides clarity.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
yes.
just like anything. Like it's that change of scenery. Like with anxiety, like I have flight anxiety, never had it growing up, but I have it now. So one of the things that I do is like I will hold ice in my hand, and it's just to retether you, right? Like it's the same thing with the walk. It's you're going outside, so your brain has to focus on something other than just the anxiety. It has to focus on like walking and how you're walking and how your muscles are moving and things like that. It's so much. I know that you want to say something and I keep talking over you.
That's okay.
So I just saw you open your mouth. He's like, "Can I speak, please?" But yeah, I totally agree. Like, allow your brain to work on something different. Give it something else to focus on. I love that. Yeah.
Well, Jim, before we get to the last question, I did want to go back to Lighthouse Sobriety. And you talk about, you have your 6 daily habits to keep you sober. I was curious if you could share those with us real quick, kind of give us a brief description of that.
Yeah. And just even, yeah, like you said, to keep you sober, all of these are science backed to really help just boost your dopamine, help you feel better. Because when you get sober, a lot of times you're going to experience a dip. All that dopamine, you stop doing it, you're going to crash. Totally normal. And so in this period, especially like 30 to 60 days, You're might feel a little bit low, high anxiety, things like that. So all of these things can just help you to feel better, but it's not just for 30 days, 60 days. It's just habits to make you feel your best, right? And to continue to grow in your sobriety. So, and I got these, from doing my own things, from Rachel Hollis's 5 to Thrive to 75 Hard, which I did, which I loved. And I'm like, wow, I'm feeling amazing. And I didn't start feeling like that until like day 60, 65 of putting myself in uncomfortable situations and doing these things. I'm like, wow, what if I could create some things, some daily tasks for women to do in my programs? If I could feel this like 10 years in my sobriety, how great could they feel when they're in that dip as well? And so the first one is water, right? I got my water bottle right here, guys. So drinking, and you probably heard this. Now, 75 Hard is a gallon. This is, I want you to drink half your body weight. I tell my kids this, like half your body weight in ounces of water. Number one, it's going to carry nutrients to your cells. It's going to help lessen that brain fog, especially in early sobriety. It's going to boost your energy. It also cleanses the liver, of course. And I'm talking plain water, nothing added to it, unless it's like a fruit, a natural fruit. And of course, I got that from 75 Hard of just drinking water. And I'm like, wow, I don't think, how much water do we drink in a day? The other one is reading. I experienced, and this was actually one of the 4 vital behaviors of Beachbody, is to incorporate personal development. It was in this period when I started reading my first personal development book, was You Are a Badass by Jen Hirst. I don't know if you've read it. It was in this book that I realized a lot of the things I was struggling with at work with these women. Oh my God, it was such a clarity moment. I'm like, that has nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with them. And I ran to my husband. I'm like, oh my God, I thought there was something wrong with me. In turn, it's them. Holy smokes. And so I started to read books on sobriety, books on personal development, like the Let Them Theory, the High Five Habit, just all of these great ones. And it offered so much clarity into my past, things that I didn't learn in treatment, things that I didn't learn in AA. I learned through reading books and listening to podcasts. So reading 10 pages a day, because I always like to say, well, from Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better, right? When you can know, and all of these books carry so much nuggets of information to help you do life better in whatever you're struggling with, whether it's parenting, anxiety, sobriety, all of these things, becoming an entrepreneur, hosting a podcast. There's a book about it, right? Gratitude. Writing 5 things that you're grateful for from the past 24 hours. So I started doing this in 2018 and I was like, gratitude, what the heck? My health. But then when Rachel Hollis said, I want you to get specific. I want you to look at the previous day, or you could do this at night. And I want you to think of the things that went well. And when we can focus on gratitude, we're going to start to increase happiness. I started to notice the small things in life that made my day a little bit brighter. Like, oh my God, they had one Skinny Pop popcorn at Walmart and the last one, and I got it. Can you imagine the horror if they did not have any? And I wouldn't be able to have Skinny Pop. Oh, I mean, I would live, right? But I'd be like, dang it. I really wanted that. I'm like, I got the last one. Yes. My son played 7th grade basketball. That was in my gratitude tonight. He got his first ever trophy. He's been working on it for years. He got it yesterday on my gratitude this morning. So it helps us see what's going well when in sobriety. And actually, just as a human, we're naturally wired to think and find the negative. You have to actually seek out and focus and train your brain to find the good, right? And when we can see the good, we're going to start to believe like sobriety is pretty freaking awesome, which it is. The next one, which I incorporated last year, is protein. How much protein are you getting? And not just specifically protein. I think everybody should be having protein, but the 3 p.m. protein snack. So having at least 10 grams of not pure protein, but like good quality protein, like Greek yogurt, or it could be a chopstick or cottage cheese or chicken or whatever at 3 p.m. before your trigger hour, which for many of us is around that work to home life transition. Yep. That 3 to 4 p.m. hour, you want to get ahead of it because low blood sugar can manifest as cravings for alcohol and sugar. It also kind of eliminates the HALT acronym of hungry, angry, lonely, tired, of when your nervous system and when you feel on edge or feel triggered to drink. You want to get ahead of it. So making sure you're not going into your trigger hour hungry is super important, along with stabilizing blood sugar. One of the most important ones that I love, that I fully believe is going to help in so many ways, is movement. So moving your body for at least 20 minutes a day, not saying HIIT workouts. I am saying walking, yoga. If you want to do strength training, which I think is really important, I've really been getting into it. Super, super helpful. Number one, it's going to help reduce stress. I think a lot of us drink to lower our stress and could turn. It just makes it worse. It's also going to help process emotions, like you were saying. When you're moving your body, you're not thinking about all the things you got to do, right? You're focusing on your breath. And when you can cross off a workout, it's going to boost your confidence. It's also going to boost dopamine. All of these habits can boost dopamine. And then the last one is checking into your sober community. So making sure, I'm not saying you have to go to a meeting every day. You get to choose what your sobriety looks like. I'm saying maybe you can text a friend, comment on a post if you're in a online platform. If you have a sponsor, reach out to your sponsor. Just having some connection with someone else who's sober, whether it's a group, whether it's one person, to just stay connected so you don't become complacent. I had a woman in my membership that's like, I want to be confident, just not complacent, right? So I believe those are the 6, right? Yeah. Water, gratitude, reading, movement, exercise, protein, and checking into your sober community.
I love that, because those are all very attainable things too. And it leaves enough room for interpretation. Like a lot of times when people have different steps, it can feel very like you have to do this, 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 and this. I love yours because it's like, listen, I'm not telling you exactly what to do. I'm saying that you take these things and you work it into what makes sense for you and what works. Like all of those things are, I mean, you can do any of those things just within your home. Like, you know, if you don't live in a walkable community, you can just walk around your house or just go outside and just like walk in the yard for a minute or whatever it is. And I always love things that are inclusive like that, because it works with the understanding of knowing that everyone's lives look, feel, and sound different. I think those are just fundamental things that everybody should do. And you're right, they make you better. And with the protein as well, like your body cannot heal without protein. Yes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you're sick, if you are hurt, if you're getting over a virus, anything, your body can literally not heal without the proper amount of protein. And I that's the biggest one that I learned is you've got to have better protein intake. It really does make you feel significantly better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And congrats on 75 hard. That's badass.
Thank you.
I've had a few friends do it. I did it for a year and a half. I did Live Hard, and then I did an extra 6 months. So yeah, it was, and I still, and to this day, I quit the outdoor workout, which is why I stopped, but I still drink a gallon of water a day. I still read. That's the craziest thing I've ever done. It actually helped me stay sober.
Yeah.
But as you said, the outdoor walk part, I did that as my, basically my 45 minutes when I started. And talk about clearing your mind and finding gratitude for the small things in life, just for the air outside, the trees, the things you hear, the birds, the leaves rustling. Talk about a complete change of your outlook for your day and just for things in general. It's amazing. We put so much work into drinking, and I don't think you realize it until you quit. It was a full-time job trying to find alcohol, finding ways to get people to not notice you're drinking, not notice the alcohol in your breath, things like that. That, man, does it open up a lot of time for you to do these other things, as you did, which I find absolutely incredible. That's badass that you did that. I love that. Anytime a woman can do 75 hard and drink a gallon of water is fucking amazing.
The water, I did it for about 3 weeks, and the water was the hardest part.
Yeah. And it was in the dead of winter in Minnesota. So it was like, there are days where it was like -40. And so, but when you make a decision, you just don't question it. You just do it.
Yes.
I'm doing it no matter what. I just got to get proper gear. And that's the same
That's
with sobriety is, okay, it's this. What kind of gear do I need? I need a face mask. I need ski goggles. I need hand warmers. I need this. I was like, okay, you just get proper gear, right? There's no bad weather. There's just bad clothing.
There's
Damn
always
right.
there's always a million reasons not to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it's because the weather's not good right now, then it's going to be the holidays, and then it's going to be, well, the kids are out of school, or we're going here, we're going there. Like that's the thing. Just fucking do it. Just start it. I promise you'll figure it out. People are very resourceful. You'll figure it out.
All right, Jen, we'll get to my favorite part of the show, is we always ask all our guests to think back to your old drinking days, which for you was a while ago. And if you could just tell us a funny story, whether it involve you, involve some friends, your husband, just tell us a funny story.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's not a long story. So I was thinking about this, and it was honestly how me and my husband met. And so I actually had a boyfriend at the time. And we met at Brewfest, which all love stories do. And I wasn't even going to go. I was just like, I just don't want to go. I'm not in the mood for it. So, but I'm like, what the heck? I'll just go. Ugh. So we went and I saw this guy. I'm like, oh my God. He had a full-on 70s stash. I'm like, he is beautiful. I'm like, why am I looking at him like that? I have a boyfriend. And then I'm like, there's no way I would have a chance with him anyway. I'm like, why am I even thinking this? And so I would go to the bathroom. Of course, we started pre-drinking before Brewfest because that's what all smart people do, right? And so I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to do my thing. And then we kept, having little instances together or like saying little things back and forth. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. We got there. We walked in the doors. All of us have a really good buzz on, right? And then we were kind of doing this. We're like, let's go here. And him and I kind of stuck together a little bit, even though I was with my other girlfriends. He had his guys. I had my girls. We're like, let's go try this. I was just having so much fun. And then he looked at me in that, really smoldering, glass-eyed look. He looked in my eyes and he's like, you know what? You have a sweet ass. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, not that was inappropriate. Of course not.
Right.
I was just like, I think he might like me. I'm like, oh my God, this handsome man who I thought was a player, totally not, because he was so gorgeous. I think he likes me. And I went in the bathroom, like, oh my God, I think he likes me. I'm like, wait, I have a boyfriend. Oh my God. And then the rest is history, right? And that's how he got me. I love he just swept me off my feet from there. And from there, we started holding hands. And so just be honest. My husband was very honest with me.
There you go.
He saw the best part of me, and the rest went from there. So that's how we met. And 2 kids later, we're now 15 years married.
I love it.
And that's how it starts, guys.
The only thing
Sweet
that
ass.
would have made that story any better is for you to get drunk and call your boyfriend and be like, you never told me I was sweet ass.
I know, guys.
Oh, God.
So,
that's hilarious because when Ryan and I met, it was during karaoke at a bar, and he came up to me and flirted with me, wanted nothing to do with them. And then I don't even know what happened. I was on my way to the bathroom and he asked for a kiss, and I flat straddled him in the middle of the bar and laid it on him like big old sloppy kiss.
And
the rest is history. So it was like,
and that's
from a
finding
movie.
the good in our drinking. I was able to meet my husband,
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
There
and
you
I was
go.
not the one to just go up and like sloppy kiss somebody, but I was like, I mean, whatever.
I know.
I guess I'm very grateful for not being sober that day as
There you
you
go.
are, because it led somewhere.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
it did. There we go, guys.
Sweet asses
and
and
everything.
sloppy kisses.
That's right.
That's the key
Can
to.
you title that my
I think we
podcast
should.
episode?
Sweet
Sweet asses
asses.
and sloppy
I
kisses.
think I will.
Sloppy kisses.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Good.
Yeah,
Well,
that'll be
Jen,
great.
thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
This
We
is
really
so
appreciate
wonderful.
it. Again, it's Lighthouse Sobriety. Jen, let us know again where everybody can find you.
Yeah, Instagram, Jen Hirst. Join lighthousesobriety.com. I have a couple groups coming up. My next signature program is Dry 100. So that's coming up in the spring, April 20th. And then I'm also launching a group coaching program, a brand new one, because when you get sober, you're like, great, I feel great. But now what? Who am I? So it's kind of like a sobriety 2.0 to understand who you are and what you want to do, and where to go from here. So that
Love
starts
it.
also April 20th as well. So I just wanted to plug that because
Awesome.
I'm working my butt off to get those out, and it's going to be awesome.
Love it.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Jen. This has been so much fun, and thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, we really
it really was
appreciate it.
inspirational.
Thanks, Jim. We'll talk to
Absolutely.
you soon.
You too.
Bye.
If you love the podcast, which I know you do, please like, subscribe,
And hit that notification bell to get
Boom.
notified every time we post.
That's right. Dropping them, baby. Word.